In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the Tyk API Gateway to authenticate API requests using Mutual TLS. To do this, we need an API definition that's set up to use Mutual TLS. I have one here. It's running on a local Docker-based Tyk installation. I've called the API mTLS. The listen path is mTLS, and it's targeting the httpbin.org service. And further down, I've set the authentication mode to Mutual TLS. Let's take a look at what currently happens when we try and access this API. If I try to go straight to the upstream service, I get back a nice JSON document. But if I try to access the same API via the gateway, I get an error message. This tells me that I need to provide my TLS certificate. To do this, I'll generate a self-signed certificate. We can see that that's created a certificate and a key. I can now add this certificate to my API definition. I click on Add New Certificate, browse, find my certificate that I've just created, and then click on Add. Okay, that's added the certificate to our API definition, and we can see the fingerprint of the certificate here in the API definition. If we want to, we can then check the fingerprint against the certificate we have created. So I'll run this command. This shows me the fingerprint. It ends with 82AB. And I can check that in here and see that we have the same fingerprint in the dashboard. So what happens now if we try to access the API? In this command, I'm providing the local certificate and key. I'm also using the K switch here because I have a self-signed certificate on my gateway, and I want curl to overlook that. We get back a different message this time. It's detected that the certificate has been provided, but it's not allowed. And this is because just by providing a certificate doesn't mean that the gateway is going to authorize it to access the API. So we have to actually create an API key and associate it with this certificate. If we go back into the dashboard, go to Keys, click on Add Key, select the Mutual TLS checkbox and select the certificate. Then we can set the access rights of this key as a normal API key. So most importantly, we need to give it access to that API. Now click on Create. I don't need to use this key in my request because I'll be sending the certificate and that will be enough. Tyk will make the association with the API key itself. Let's see what happens if we try and make another API request. Great, we now have access. The API gateway read that the certificate was provided. It then matched that certificate against the API key we generated, and that key authorized access to the API. There is an alternative authentication mode that you can pick as well. Let's take a look at that. If we go back to the Mutual TLS API, go down to the authentication modes. If I pick auth token, using standard auth tokens, and make sure that enable client certificate is checked. And update this. Now if we rerun the request, we get access. What's happened here is that the gateway has checked the keys for the certificate and found that there was a matching key, and that key allowed access to the API. The difference between this mode of authentication and the Mutual TLS mode of authentication is that the Mutual TLS mode, you have to explicitly define all of the certificates that are allowed. So I can remove the certificate from the allowed list, and even though there is a key, it will reject the API request. Let's see that. Go into my authentication mode, go to Mutual TLS. Here's the key that I have allowed, so I'm going to remove that, update the API. Let's check what happens. It's rejected it. So choose the Mutual TLS mode if you want a more fine-grained control. But if you want an easier way to configure your APIs using Mutual TLS, you can use the auth token mode with the enabling of client certificates.